I think many of you have it anyway. Many of you don't. So let's spend a little time on this. It's really important to you, your children, and if you don't have children, to our future. So right now, as a microcosm, as an example of this, let's take a look at what's going on in what is clearly the communist city of New York and the communist sympathizing state of New York, because we have an out and out communist, a lover of Islamic terrorists, a disgraceful mayor, Mondani, and we have a governor who is dumb and rather amoral. She's in it for money. She's in it to get the big payout from the Buffalo Stadium for her husband, who owns the concessions there. But nobody wants to tell you that. She also made a deal in the last election that would have put any of us in jail. So don't get fooled by the fact. I don't know that she ever acts like a nice person. There's nothing nice about her. There's something very vacant about her. Like if I were teaching her in school, I would think I'd have to work really hard to get through to her. Like she wouldn't get it the first 2 or 3 times. But I do think she gets the fact that Mondani is having come from Buffalo, that Mondani is a dangerous communist and Islamic terrorist sympathizer. If she doesn't, well, she does. When I was young and inexperienced and as naive as many of the poor people that are misled today, I used to think that pre-K education was a great thing. Just think about it abstractly. Get them a little education beforehand. Get them ready for the ABCs, D's, and E's. But up. Even then, there were people who disagreed on pedagogic grounds, that education has to take place in measured steps, and that overloading it sometimes is not correct. But that was an honest debate. What I didn't realize, because the people behind it, until maybe 10 years later, I didn't realize were pure communists like John Dewey. And really what they were trying to do is not improve the kids' education. Their purpose was not my purpose. They didn't want the kids educated in proper and significantly good writing and arithmetic, analytical skills, knowledge of American history, knowledge of world history, knowledge of Western civilization, and knowledge of other parts of the world to compare it to, so they could become leaders and patriotic American leaders. This is what I thought was the purpose of public education. I went to Catholic school, but I thought that was the purpose of public education. I thought the purpose of my education was all of that plus being a Catholic and living in accordance with and adoring God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, and the Blessed Mother. So that's, and this a little early education, good idea. Total jackass, Rudy. Now, as a different illustration, the or the people who are analyzing and shocked at Mondani and Hochul are coming up with every day something new. I mean, yesterday we had Flushing, Queens, 1 square mile takes down 27% of the Medicare spending in New York State. Every place visited by the reporters that get multi-millions in payments from Medicaid, who have 25 and 30,000 patients. They didn't see a single patient at any single one of them. Sound like Minneapolis on steroids, sound like the Somalis on steroids. Don't discount the New Yorkers for being cheaters. They've been cheating since Boss Tweed. It's in the blood of many Democrats in New York. They consider a job a way to make money. A lot of the judges do. And nobody will tell you that. And since I'm disbarred, I mean, what else are they going to do to me? It is more likely than not that the judge that you're in front of in New York is being told what to do by the county leader who puts him on the ballot. It is absolutely certain that that's true if it's a political case. They've been corrupt like that for 170 years. The New York Bar Association, that threw me out, has participated in that. And the person they put in charge of my case was a person who was a product of that corrupt system and would never get another case because she got paid extra for the cases if she found for me. That's just one small example of how horribly corrupt it is in New York and how New York, the greatest city in the world, cannot be proud of the administration of justice here. It's an embarrassment.
Yep.
Well
said, Mayor.
So now, remember Mondami, the candidate, the completely useless guy who's never had a job, never had responsibilities, has a rich family as a ne'er-do-well, but he's an out-and-out communist, wants to have free grocery stores, free daycare, free everything you can think of. And he wants to have free pre-K starting at 6 months old.
Wow.
6 months old. What the hell is he going to teach him at 6 months old? How to hate the parents. That's what he's going to teach him. How, hey, did you ever think of being a girl, kid? Not bad being a girl. Come on, it doesn't hurt to chop your penis off. Am I kidding or am I not kidding? Am I being a little crude to make the point? You're damn right I am. Is it a point that needs to be made dramatically? You're damn right it does. So he was going to spend $3 billion on this. It's now already gone up to $6 billion. You see, I want you to look at that too about these communists, socialists, liberals, and useless Democrats, which are most of them in office. Mm-hmm. They have no concept of money. When I was mayor, they had no concept of money. I was able to be friends with them because they weren't traitors to the United States, but they were completely useless jackasses as executives. We'll have free daycare. Okay, who can pay for it? The taxpayers. And if you start making them pay for it, how many taxpayers are you going to have left? You're going to have less. Does there come a point in which if you make them pay for it, you have so few taxpayers, you can't pay for it. And it goes bankrupt like Social Security. I didn't think of that. It'll work out. We'll just tax the billionaires. Did it ever occur to you the billionaires could leave your city or a state? They won't. But you're not in charge of that. And they are. Well, we'll tax the ones that remain. And we'll ask the last one to put out the lights. But we can keep them in the United States? No, you can't. You can't. How the hell do you think over the last 30 or 40 years during Democratic administrations, Ireland had a complete turnaround because of taxes? If I can give you example after example. The Democrats are rendered stupid by virtue of their philosophy. They live in Alice in Wonderland. And from Alice in Wonderland, you cannot make practical judgments about tough and hard facts. Like, if you want to educate every kid from 6 months up, where are you going to get the money for it? How about we go dig one deeper? Why are you doing that? Are you doing that so that you teach them how to read and write? That they, at an early age, like the young people of Greece, learn critical reasoning so they can be independent people who can make judgments on their own and not be brainwashed by your communist educational institutions and your communist media? No, you don't do that. You teach them that it's okay to be a transvestite. In fact, you have transvestites come to school and give lectures to show them it's perfectly okay. And if you want to change your gender and you don't want to tell your parents, parents are the enemy. I'm explaining to you Democrat philosophy that is ruining your children. This is the reason they're like they are. Charles Gasparino, who knows more about New York business than anyone probably, has an excellent article that any of you in business in New York should read. And it basically says, it does you no good to play nice with the mayor. It's time to take him on. He hates business. He hates rich people, except himself and his father. Rich is in service of communism and Islamic extremism. So I'd read the article because it might give you some sensitivity to what they're trying to do to you. The Department of Justice, it turns out, is conducting an investigation of Mondami for Jewish hatred, for the specific things being done in his administration that discriminate based on religion. This should not be a very long investigation. He wears it on his sleeve. The man is with a phony smile. If you can't figure him out, I never would have hired you as an assistant U.S. attorney to do cross-examination. You're too dull. You can't figure this phony out. You're going to have a hard time in New York. You should go live someplace nice. Well, there is a concept, and here's where I don't know the answer, so I'm going to throw it out to you, Ted, and to the audience. So we have one columnist today who explains how far along socialism we have gone and how dangerous it is. It's far more dangerous to the country. But people are equating it to like the Republican insurgencies in 2010 or 2009.
2010, the Tea Party.
The Tea Party and others, right? But remember, these were people who, whether you liked it or not, and whether some of you thought it led to prejudice, it was all tied to loving America.
Yes.
And keeping it together. So they were excessive in their love of America. If that's possible. You know, I don't know that it is, but I guess the argument could be made that anything in excess can be bad. But I think loving your children in excess, I don't know, maybe it would spoil them. Okay, that's a lot better than letting them die, right? So these groups go in the absolute opposite direction. Whether you want to, for purposes of just being argumentative or not, dispute this with me, the left-wing groups are united by their uniform hatred of everything American, from patriotism to the flag, to the national anthem, to our founding fathers, our heroes, to our military, to the men in uniform who keep us safe from the predators that they have made abundant in Democrat America. They are completely on their side. Republicans are on the other side. So, okay. Rich York, who is a very, very fine columnist, has an optimistic view of this, somewhat. He says that this outbreak of such jarringly left-wing and anti-American conduct or parties is going to jolt the American people back to more of a love and embracing of America. Now, others, there's several articles, so I won't name just one person, say just the opposite. We're underestimating this. This is deeper. It's been planned for 50 years in terms of the infiltration of networks, longer with regard to the infiltration of schools. It was done in stages, and we're way beyond the point where we can easily reverse it. That's what they say. Now, Rich is on the other side. So are many others. I don't want to leave Rich out there all by himself. But then on one side is they've gone too far and it's going to turn around. Other side is they've gone too far and we are going to get shocked as hell that they have a lot more control than we think they do. Which is it?
That's the million-dollar question right now, isn't it, Mayor? I think you brought up a good point. The education system and how it's failed our students, even going back to when I was in high school, and that was 20 years ago. That's not to say we didn't have any teachers, we didn't like and that did a good job, but I think we're so far behind because of what generations of students have been taught about this country.
Do you think this election will give us the answer to this, or do you think it's just one? It's just one election.
Time will tell. If the Democrat Party, I don't know if the term "jump the shark" works here, but if they've gone too far with who they've nominated, not only are a number of their candidates, what we would feel, they're off in terms of where their policy is on where a vast majority of the American people are, but they're flawed candidates for other reasons. In a lot of cases, these aren't people to aspire to be or that should be leading, a food truck, let alone serve an office.
But it's a good test, really, because I hope we're reading it right, but they really are far off.
Right.
I mean, they really are way. I mean, the whole idea of free grocery stores should have gone out with any American who lived through the overthrow of the Soviet Union, with the grocery stores starving the people of Russia, or just take a trip down to Cuba,
right?
And or any of these places where people are selling their internal organs in order to get food. That doesn't happen in capitalist countries.
Bingo. So that's the question. I mean, we've had this problem with the education system for quite some time, right? That's not necessarily new.
I often have thought that socialism is much more emotionally pleasing. Even to religious people, it's more socially pleasing. It's emotional. Take care of everybody. Capitalism is take care of yourself. Right?
Seems like it's more practical in some respects, or the idea of put your mask on first before assisting the passenger next to you. Right?
And socialists will attempt, although it's been rejected, to take on the cloak of Christianity. That when Jesus said, "Take care of the poor," he meant give them anything they wanted. But Jesus's major goal was not to feed them; it was to save their souls. The food of life meant nothing; it was just a symbol. It was to save their souls. So it is very, very simplistic to say, we'll take care of everyone, but we're not going to have a system that has a supreme being. We're not going to have a system that has concrete, objective moral principles. And we're not going to have a system with a supreme being who will judge you. So now you've taken away the real core of Christianity in the name of one emotional aspect of it, which is to care for the poor.
Yes.
And do you care for the poor by just handing them things constantly and never helping them learn how to make things for themselves, because there aren't enough people that are going to keep handing them things? So, I mean, Jesus fed, that was this week's gospel. Jesus fed with the loaves and fishes one time.
Right.
He didn't do it he didn't say, you can come here all your life and you can have the free loaves and fishes Mondami grocery store.
Right.
He was expecting that their responsibility and their discipline and their love for their children would create their taking care of them, that they would become responsible human beings. This is a very difficult philosophical discussion, but the simplicity of it is this: socialism and communism takes away morality. The minute morality is taken away, you can then get food any way you want, anytime you want, against anyone, and you can take it from anyone. When morality is introduced into it, yes, you can get charity, you can get help, but you yourself, in order to be a person who's living by the laws of God, have to be trying to improve yourself, make yourself godlike. So socialism and Christianity, socialism and most religions conflict with each other 100%. And the false, highly emotional comparisons fall with the slightest bit of critical analysis. Now, here's the problem. Communists have for 50 to 60 to 70 to 80 to 90 years done everything they can to remove critical analysis from the ability of our children to operate. That's what they've removed from our schools, more than anything else. So I don't know. I do think, and this I will say as an apocalyptic statement, this is our last chance. When the president said to the terrorist murderers in the reign of terror, this is your last chance. This is our last chance to make sure this country doesn't go the way of Western Europe. Instead, let's keep our eye on Eastern Europe, huh? They're more American than Western Europe. They may have been our predecessors, but they're not our successors. Western Europe and Asia are. The FBI, according to John Solomon, has now revealed that Trump fired Comey, and the FBI secretly opened a probe on Trump on the theory that he fired Comey because he believed that Comey was a Russian asset. I don't know how many of these FBI memos we're going to get when we get a complete, absolute cleaning out of this. And I do know the Bureau, and I love the Bureau. But there's a real tendency to protect who wrote this memo and who did. You can't do that. It can't be done. These people have to pay for this. The country's at stake. The single most powerful law enforcement agency in the country will do this again unless this is cleaned out. So, Cash, don't be tempted. Mm-hmm. Get it all out. John Solomon put this article out. It's devastating. It's devastating what they falsified. And Brennan, right in the middle of it, there were 51 spies who lied. The guy at the top of the list who defamed me and Trump and got away with it because the press lionized an American traitor. was that son of a bitch. And he hasn't paid. We had to pay. He didn't pay. Just not right. Just not right. Well, I think I'm going to finish with a couple of funnies. You know I love the Babylon Bee,
Uh-oh.
right?
He's online. I got to find a way.
I don't know if they're online and you can see them. I have them here. You might be able to see them. The first one is, let me read it to you. You'll get it just from the reading of it. Horrified Spaniards to see their country turning into Minnesota. That's the first one, see? Horrified Spaniards see their country turning into Minnesota. That one was paid for by Soros, the Minnesota one. Who paid for the horrified Spaniards coming in? Could be the same guy. I don't know. Here's another one. WNBA, that's the Women's National Basketball Association. Now, I don't know how they can call it the Women's National Basketball Association, because one of the chief justices of the United States, appointed by the Biden Politburo, doesn't know what women means. So this is the non-meaningless NBA. So the WNBA, here's the headline. Stumped. The coaches are stumped as to what the W stands for. They don't know what the W stands for. Third one. Dodgers acquire Kel Al of Krypton.
Well, yeah. Baseball.
And then the final one. Man who took nation's constitutional rights claims protection by constitutional right. Yes, I can prevent you from speaking your mind, gathering to worship, or even leading your home. You just can't ask me a question about it, says Fauci. Let me say it one more time. Fauci, yes, I can prevent you from speaking, gathering to worship God, or even walking out of your house. But you can't even ask me a question about it. Is that clear? I am science. Thank you, Babylon Bee, for pointing out the horrible, horrible contradictions and the horrible damage that the left is doing to the greatest country on earth. Also, let it be a warning to you of how much we need your involvement. These people get elected. Tomorrow I'll go over a poll that I've been trying to get all the background of that shows you that we have the majority of the American people on our side. That doesn't mean we're going to get them. Don't. If you want to ask me about the next election coming up, we have the ability to win it. That doesn't mean we are going to win it. The numbers are out there for us to win it. More people, more Americans oppose this than support it. More Americans are intelligent and moral than they're not. Politics is the art of getting to people, when it's done right, with the best and the right solutions and getting them tested in the marketplace of ideas. If we can do that, we're going to win. And we can. So you stick with us. We're going big time this fall. You'll see. We're going to announce that as we end the summer. Because I'm not saying this is the most important election, because I feel like you say, well, I told you the last one was the most important. I'm saying the following. If the last one was the most important, this one is the most important. And I want you to, I'm not going to explain that right now. I want you to think about that. Okay? Because I like you to think. Because when you think, much more important than when I think. When you think, this country. Pray for the people of Ukraine. and the people of Iran and our people, including the misguided ones. Bring them back from atheistic communism and Muslim extremism. Bring them back to who and what they are. And keep that protection that you've granted to our great president. Keep it in place. Keep watching him. Keep taking care of him. For every time he travels, I worry about him. So, dear God, thank you very much for what you've given us. I hope, and I pray we're living up to what you want from us. God bless America.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Tunnels to Towers Foundation honors America's greatest heroes. Heroes like the dedicated public servant Josh Bischoff. Josh began his firefighting career as a volunteer and quickly rose through the ranks to become CAL FIRE's Assistant Chief of Tactical Air Operations. Josh was driven by a deep sense of purpose and a passion for serving others. His leadership earned him great respect across the entire state of California and beyond that, until tragedy struck. And two helicopters collided while fighting a California wildfire. Josh was killed in the crash. He left behind his wonderful wife, Cheryl, and their two children, Derek and Juliana. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation paid the Bischoff family's mortgage immediately, lifting a financial burden and enabling Josh's family to focus on healing after unimaginable loss. Josh's family is committed to honoring his memory by living with the same drive, the same joy, the same patriotism, and the same purpose that he did. Honor and help heroes like Josh and their families who've sacrificed everything. Donate $11 a month Welcome back, and I'm sorry for the confusion. The confusion came about because of 6 years of America's Mayor Live and the timing of it, and which is really nice because we're coming up to its 300th anniversary. And I have to tell you, we're thinking very, very hard. Myself and Ted and Dr. Maria and Rob and some of the other friends of the show, we're thinking very hard what we should do to celebrate it, because I hope you enjoyed it. Some of the audiences we compiled, like the one with 5 million, kind of suggest that we have. But in any event, you always have to improve things. So I'm trying to figure out, and we will do that over this weekend, next weekend, how we can engage you in how we can improve things for you. Remember, we're on between 4 and 6, but then we're on after that. So you can fix us to whatever fits you. If you like to watch things when you wake up at 4 in the morning, like I do sometimes, you can watch us at 4 in the morning. There are plenty of people I watch at 4 in the morning. I very often begin preparing this show at 4 in the morning or 6, and then go back to bed. So what I was going to do in a short while is show you some of the pictures of my trip last week to Italy. Now, I was in Italy for a much longer period of time than I realized. I was there for 17 days. I rarely am out of the only country in the world. Do you know my mother never went to Europe? You know why? She didn't want to. She said, I'm going to travel. I'm going to travel in the United States. What the hell did my parents leave Europe for? So you can get an idea how I was brought up.
There's a lot to see in the U.S.
What's inside here, right? This is like pro-American, 100%. But strangely, a great love for my heritage. More than that, a great love for my civilization. I have tremendous respect for English history, English literature. I am a minor scholar of Greek philosophy, minor. More a scholar of Roman history, maybe because of the Italian part, but I feel the Greek part merged right into it. And the Italians, the Italians would have built on the achievements of the Etruscans, which were more substantial than anyone realizes. But without the achievements of the Greeks consolidated into the achievements of the Romans, we wouldn't have risen the way we did. Remember, the language spoken in the Roman Empire for some time was Greek, not Latin. Latin became a scholarly language around the 3rd century or so, as the church was really forming, which is how it became the language of the Western church, while Greece was the beautiful, intellectual, brilliant language of the Eastern church. I'm telling you all this because you've got to get your children to start appreciating who they are and where they come from. Because otherwise, they won't be the special people that God selected. If we go back to the Old Testament, this creates antagonism with some people, not with me. The Jews were the chosen people of God. But to be the chosen person of God, you had to know you were the chosen person of God. If your Jewish family didn't tell you, you weren't going to know. If they lived outside of the village, if they lived outside of the compound, if they lived outside of the community, you were no different than the pagans who were killing people to sacrifice to God. Somebody has to tell you And then there are these people who say, well, this is awful that Jews were chosen. First of all, don't. This is biblical, and you can dispute this, but don't ever dispute the way God has done things. You're not smart enough unless you think you're Adam and Eve, and look what they did, huh? If you read the Old Testament, the first 5 books particularly, and then you go on and read some more, but particularly the first 5, you see how God, you see a lot of things in it. There are a lot of themes in it, but there's one that's really, really dramatic. You see how God formed the Jewish people into 12 tribes, into exactly where their tents would be, where the temple would be for the adoration of the Supreme Being, and what should be done in great specifics to adore the Supreme Being. The tribes, the recognition by Moses when they were divided into 12 tribes. God, I can't manage all these people. And Yahweh gave Moses the ability to select an elder from each of the 12 tribes and say to them, you decide for the tribe. If they have a complaint, stolen property, adultery, theft, murder, whatever it is, you decide it. It's impossible for me to do it correctly sitting here above all these people. Whatever number the exact number was, could have been 10,000, could have been 50,000 at that point. We don't know. Don't remember, and I'm going to go back and look tonight. I should maybe look right here. I don't remember if that was God's request of, that was Moses' request of God, or God's request of Moses, because it was just a little bit too difficult. But it was a lesson in corporate management, as well as the development of the people of God. And Moses named the heads of each of the families to come to him. And when it got out of hand, and when it got beyond them, as it did probably more often than Moses liked, they would come to Moses, and Moses would decide who's right, who's wrong, what's the punishment, what's the penalty. Punishments usually were in the nature of sacrifices. And then they set up an enormously strict liturgy for how to worship God, separate from how to seek forgiveness from God. Read it. Many people find it boring. When you get to the stage that you don't, you're going to have a very, very interesting, inquisitive mind. When you can read that and see what's in it, I'm telling you, your intelligence will jump like that. Because that is challenging, and it is a little beyond the average human intelligence. But if you can see that, and you can see the implications in what God was doing, informing not just the Jew, all people, and giving them a sense of how to deal with this enormously complex world he built for them. And you realize how wonderful God is for having done that. You've gotten yourself to a stage of spiritual growth and also intellectual capacity. That's beyond the average person. So these are things that become extraordinarily necessary now, because when we talk, as we do often, and we bring these things in about socialism and about communism and about the desecration of the Bible in the Quran, which it did. We are enormously euphemistic and very nice to Muslims, and we should be. I love Muslims. I hate to say this, because people would say this about you. Some of my best friends have been Muslims. Some of my, other than Christianity and Judaism, I've studied Muslim more than any other religion, or maybe most philosophies, because it fascinated me from the very, very beginning when I was a young student in high school, aspiring to go to the seminary. It's very, very hard to discuss the Muslim religion in the modern world of politics and ability to jump on everything and misinterpret you. Because the Muslim religion, like most complex subjects, is difficult.
Right.
It can't be described in one, but it desperately needs to be understood. It needs to be understood in either order, by you and by them. Because considerably more than our religions, or religion, if you want to consider Judaism and Christianity, in essence, two different religions, but one culture.
Right.
And you can go with either. I don't care. I consider it the latter, because I consider myself partially Jewish. After all, the God that I worship is Jewish. I'm going to hate Jews. The God I follow is Jewish. Many Jews may not believe that, but I do. So I hope over the next year, you help us establish a way of making Americans truly understanding of what they're facing with this so-called Islamic invasion. It's very bad, and in some ways, it's not as bad as you think. It's very alarming, and it can be dealt with. There are some very, very bad people that are at the front of it. I don't even know how many of them are Islamic, because it can easily merge into personal ambition, particularly now with their collaboration with communism, which should be out of the question for a religious Muslim, and therefore, in his own way, a believer in God. So when we see a Mandami who is both a communist and a Muslim, we've got to question just what kind of Muslim he is. And I don't think it's unfair. I'm a Roman Catholic, and I've gone through many struggles with that. And finally, I've come to complete peace with it. But as a Roman Catholic, at any time of my various loyalty, complete obedience, disobedience, sinfulness, return to the fold, and then we're always failing. But whatever, at any time, because I always would never let you, no matter what, I would never let you describe me as anything else but a Roman Catholic. Never wrote down anything else for the 100 times that I was asked, what am I? Because whether I lived up to it or not, and for a long time I didn't, I was proud of being a part of what I believed is the one true faith. Please don't turn me off because I believe that. You can believe something different. Did I always live up to the one true faith? No. Am I trying my darndest now? Yes. But the reality is, if at any time I told you I'm a communist, how can I possibly be a communist and a Catholic? There are many, many things you have to be a Catholic. Probably not as many as you think, because the infallible word of the Pope has been exercised much less frequently than you think. But let's say there are doctrines you have to agree to be a Catholic. That's one thing. Then there are ways you have to live your life to be a Catholic. It's easier to agree with the doctrines than to live your life. I don't know exactly what you are when you believe in the doctrines, which I always have, and you can't quite live your life that way, which for a long period I couldn't. But I can tell you one thing. The sine qua non of it was believing in God. At no time in that period, very strict Catholic, not so strict, somewhat fallen away Catholic, coming back, stronger Catholic, even stronger. Anywhere along the line, I didn't believe in God. I was out of the game completely. I wasn't even a Christian. Well, if you're a communist, you don't believe in God. What the hell is Mondami doing? Which is it? Are you a Muslim who believes in Allah? Or are you a communist who rejects God? If Allah is God, I think you think he is, and embrace Marx. This is one where you can't have both. And all it does is illustrate for me the lack of intelligence, education, real education of this generation. Someone wrote something, I'm going to go find it somewhere. It says the first generation of Americans that was less intelligent and less well-informed than their parents. Now, it's beyond my generation. It's my granddaughter. I thought my children knew more than me, learned more than me. I probably never thought they had my wisdom. That's why I'm a father, right? But in any event, you see these things we have to deal with. These are the things we have to deal with because we have been infiltrated and undermined over an arguably long period of time. We'll come up with a period so we have a starting point. Not necessarily, it'll be one of several, not necessarily the best one. But I want to trace this for you so you get it. there came a time when the communists realized that they couldn't, and they eventually, they originally first thought they could do it at the very, very beginning, which would have been about around the time of the First World War. So communism was brewing in Europe, Germany in particular, since the 1850s. It was a creature of philosophies that might be unfair to say that their philosophers intended that. But Marx interpreted Nietzsche and other philosophers of the mid 19th century to a very extreme degree. Now, strange, wicked ideas emerge from strange, wicked people. Marx was a strange, wicked, demented person and developed a strange, wicked, demented theory, but he wasn't an unintelligent man with a very, very easy, quick, natural appeal, which is everybody will be taken care of at a time in which, as there always is, a large number of people that weren't being taken care of. And the theory of it was that the government at the time of the 1820s to 50s was divided into the rich and the poor. The bourgeoisie and the proletariat. The bourgeoisie were the rich people, the leaders, the ones who ran everything, and the proletariat were the ones who had nothing to say and were told to, keep their mouth shut and do what they want. Now, this all emerged kind of not connected to, but simultaneously with the French Revolution. So a lot of it's not true because a lot of it was changing. But Marx wanted it to be true. And Marx never had a particularly good grasp on reality. Remember, over the course of his years, 1850, 1848, 1850 were the years he came out. But before that and after that, he was in various times a child molester, a worshiper of Satan. Those are probably the best things he was. He is idolized by so many of the young people who have no idea that they're listening to the mind. It's like some guy got put in a insane asylum and wrote a book, and we're following it. We're following we're following the ravings of an insane man who had no grasp of reality. Even his analysis of economics, which at times has a kind of facile appeal, comes from an extraordinarily unhinged mind with an evil purpose.
Because their university professors told them so.
And
after their parents mortgaged their house to get them into college.
What I'm telling you is never described in most American universities to students who read Marx, who was a very good writer. And although I can find you in Marx the proof of this, you got to go digging for it. And most of these kids are too lazy to go digging for it. So Marx had a tremendous impact on the latter part of the 19th century, but it never quite got anywhere. All of a sudden, it got somewhere in Russia, right? They overthrew the Tsar. They killed the Tsar. They killed 40, 50 million people. America started to embrace it. Europe started to embrace it. Italy started to embrace it. They had a shot at it in the Wilson administration. And all of a sudden, it became obvious that the premise of Marx, now that he was dead, about this tremendous poverty and the inability of society to move class to class, just didn't apply to the greatest country on earth.
This is the important part to focus
America.
on.
America was, if nothing else, a society that didn't give a shit about class, and it didn't give a shit about money. All it cared about was achievement, particularly during the 1880s to the 1920s when they were trying to come in. So Marxism failed like crazy. But then along come 4 or 5 evil Marxist
Followers of Marx?
scholars.
Yeah, scholars even, yes.
Gramsci being the biggest one.
And in a prison cell comes up with this
Yeah,
cockamamie
his
stuff.
theory is we made a mistake for America. America, we should find as the dividing line two things, because one emerges from the other. They're very sensitive about race. And they have been, if you go back. Now, Gramsci would probably tell you that Thomas Jefferson was a good man, because Thomas Jefferson was guilty about it. But he picked it up. He picked up the guilt of Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. How does a man who isn't guilty about slavery write, all men are created equal? It's a poison pill, damn it. He got it. And he said, this is how we split these jerks. We split them on race. And then we go beyond that. And it wasn't just Gramsci here.
Yeah.
There's a number of others who added to this.
You are right.
We go to oppressed and oppressor. So now we have 2 divisions, right? Race.
Yeah.
The dominant race and the slave race.
And they decided if we can
And
divide
then
them
we
on
have
that.
the oppressor and the oppressed. So Gramsci did the dominant race, slave race, and he suggested the second, which then ended up in a tremendous amount of literature, which was eaten up by the Ivy League colleges in 1919, 20, 25, 30, went off like crazy during the Depression. And by the time we're in the middle of the Depression, the Roosevelt administration is filled with communists. All through the war, all through Truman. The school system got taken over sometime around 1910. Get them away from this ridiculous adoration of America. It's just inconsistent with the government being in control of everything. But we know better. These stupid people don't know what they should do. I'm telling you all this, and I'm going to, because of time, I'm going to condense it, because we're going to spend a lot of time on this. I want you to become experts on it, because then you're going to know what you're fighting for when you're fighting for your country, because these are the people coming to take it. So the end result is that we warded them off in our dominant politics for a long time. We went through the very, very aberrational McCarthy period, which I'll sometime describe to you, because it was my introduction to politics, believe it or not. So I know it pretty well, because I spent a lot of time making believe I was sick and staying home watching it. And my mother and father were a Republican and a Democrat who believed in the danger of communism. And there were as many Democrats who believed in the danger of communism as Republicans in 1950. As many. Changed. Communists were driven out, came back. driven out, came back. We theoretically defeated them in the late 1960s, early 1970s. It was the end of communism. Eastern Europe delivered from atheistic communism. To me, the biggest image of that, Polish people being able to go to Mass. They had gone away. We thought they did. They kind of moved a little to China, convinced us that China would be easier to deal with. I believe that Richard Nixon and my hero, one of my heroes, Henry Kissinger, for all reasons. I love Henry. I think Henry was had. I think even the most brilliant man can be fooled. Yes. And I'll go through that with you. I'll take out his book and I'll show you how I think he was fooled. I will tell you at the time I went along with it. 70%. This part of the brain was saying, I'm not sure I trust these people. I have a different view than Henry, who I must have talked to for 500 hours, 1,000. I was his lawyer. I thought they were more. I thought they were more substantial. Please don't get angry, Russian friends of mine. I thought they were much tougher people than the Russians. Much more prideful and less insecure than the Russians. And I kept wondering, are we making the right choice here? These are the guys who could turn on us more than the Russians. After all, the Russians share with us a great deal of emotion. Chinese don't have a great deal of emotion. Not the same, or at least emotion we can access. Well, in any event, that's the direction it's in now. And we got to unravel it. And we got to understand it to unravel it. And we have to stop being sentimental. And we have to stop being agreeable. It doesn't mean we can't be gentlemanly. It doesn't mean we can't be kind. Doesn't mean we shouldn't extend Christian charity. But it means we have to be fierce about what we believe in, for the simple reason that we believe in the one true faith. It is as it's always been. That's what they killed us for in the first century. And if we can stand up for that now, we're going to change the world. So, we've laid out quite a program for the next year. This was a good time to do it because we had a little time. We're going to continue on this, and we're going to have very special programs on this. But we need to build you up so that you are warriors for American values and Western civilization. Or don't be afraid of saying Judeo-Christian values. Don't let anybody tell you that. I would add one other thing, although I think it is immersed in Christian values. But just so we make it a little Judeo-Christian, Greek, Roman values. You can take the other two out for shortness. But remember, when we're talking about Western civilization, we're talking about either order you want to pick. The Jews, the Greeks, the Romans, the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, the Protestant Reformation, the Renaissance, the Catholic Reformation, the Industrial Revolution, and then we're into the modern time. I just described to you the world's, by far, without any doubt, without any confusion, predominant civilization. It is not meant to control the world. It's not meant to subject other people. It's meant to lure them, bring them into this fulfillment of humanity, because they're deprived of it. And you want to travel to other parts of the world and we can show you how they're deprived of it? We'll try. So thank you very, very much. Tonight, I'm going to tell you a secret. I was debating very, very carefully whether to go see Homer's Odyssey in this like modern version where they changed the language to the Odysseus tells his troops, "Come on with me." I just don't think Greek troops responded to "Come on with me." I don't think so. But I mean, they got a left-wing actor playing the part. I will tell you what I think of using a black woman for Helena Troy, who's described as having blonde locks. I don't know. Is that like substituting a white man for Martin Luther King? I don't know. I'm going to tell you. I want to go see it. I've read this and I've read that. I've been critical. I've been interested. I'm going to give you one basic thing positive about Nolan and what he did. He put the first piece of literature in Western civilization in front of us. Did you screw it up? Well, maybe. Oh, maybe. But in this country, I have a right to comment on it. And by doing it, I admire you, even though I made, who knows? I'm not sure yet. All I've read are the reviews, this way and that way. And I got so excited by it. I bought my own, I bought 2 different translations of the Odyssey. I haven't read it all yet. I've read different parts of it. Very different. I tried to go back to my early translation of it I translated it from Latin, not Greek. I wish I had been able to translate it from Greek. God could have helped you more. But I'm going to go see it tonight very late. The real challenge is, will I stay awake? If it's good, I will. If not, then no matter what else it is, accurate, inaccurate, woke, classical, it's boring if I fall asleep. So we'll see. These are the tests. We'll talk to you about it tomorrow. Now I can say it correctly, right, Ted? You're allowed. Now I'm on the right time. Ted and Rob, you have any final words?
Well, boy,
they're coming with me tomorrow, and either tomorrow night, which is Thursday, or Friday night, which is Friday, because I might have to give them more time to prepare. We're going to have a round table of Ted. Look up, Ted, and smile. Come on, don't look so unhappy.
No, I'm not. I'm just looking at the screen.
Rob and Dr. Maria, who are going to comment on their views of the Odyssey, which is a significant thing. So no matter how much we disagree with this guy Nolan, and I don't know that we do, we have to be extremely impressed that he is introducing to us what is arguably considered to be the earliest piece of literature, grand literature, in our civilization. The Odyssey. I'm not going to say anything more about it.
And so
right.
my comments are that there's a million things I want to talk about with regard to the Antonio Gramsci stuff, but I will also just do a quick market report for our America's
good. Yeah,
Next.
tell us that. We have
So,
to know the market before we go see the original part of Western civilization.
Dow Jones up 263 points today. $75 a barrel of oil, 79 for Brent crude, and the average gas prices in the great state of New Hampshire is $3.81 a gallon as of today.
So if we drive, because we're gonna try to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, we're going.
But we're not going to see it on the biggest screen. We're going to see it on the second biggest screen.
It's IMAX, I believe, right?
IMAX, but they have two IMAXs. They got an IMAX that's like, I don't know, but I'm sure we'll be fine. Take a notebook so you can make notes. I want to hear what you have to say about it. Okay.
Okay.
All righty.
The Cyclops, Sakilla and Charbides, Telemachus, and the beautiful Penelope. Takes me back to the first year of high school. God bless America. God bless Israel. God bless Ukraine. God bless all of the people who are in harm's way. All of them. Israel, Ukraine, Iran, us. And the people who may have to die collaterally to free Iran from the regime of terror. The president has displayed enormous sensitivity and restraint. I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know how long it should last, but that's up to him. So pray for him too. Most importantly, God bless America. We'll see you tomorrow night, and we'll give you a full rundown either tomorrow night or Friday, because we need to know how much time we're going to need to take care of this when we're back with you. God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,